2nd November, 8:56 a.m. The Old Bailey courtroom. Defendant's antechamber. I keep on forgetting that. There's that old familiar feeling again. The crushing pressure of the historic courthouse. Actually, no. It's a little different today. There's an even more menacing tension in the air. There is a menacing tension in the air here today, isn't there? I suppose. Yes, I think so. I can only be the result of menacing appearance of the defendant. A little more courtesy, if you please. Oh my, I do apologize. However, you're certainly not mistaken that this trial is far from ordinary. What do you mean? I'm not privy to details. However, I understand that no jury has been selected. A trial without a jury? Well, that's just like the trial of the professor 10 years ago. A closed court. Good morning, my dear fellows. Mr. Sholmes! How you made note of my hair, Miss Naruto? An outright victory of science, you must have. Oh, yes! Your hair is normally blonde like it should be. Or silver or white, whatever color it's supposed to be. To be perfectly honest, so much happened yesterday that, well, I completely forgot about your little hair problem. Me too! Ha! What to one man is a little hair problem, is to another day of drinking dubious potion after dubious potion. You have no idea how my stomach ails me this morning. Oh dear, how awful for you. I'm afraid you only have yourself to blame, Mr. Sholmes. And good morning to you, Mr. Reaper. I'm glad to see you looking so full of vim. And you, and I see London's celebrated great detective as active as ever. Oh, you exaggerate, my dear fellow. Compared to my partly engagements, the few trivial cases, the Reaper's overbearing presence is far greater deterrent to the black roots of crime in our capital. And whilst I might not agree with your methods, there is at least one point in which I will readily commend you. What an honor. And what that would be? Your eye for a good lawyer, sir. Mr. Sholmes! After all, behind this lawyer there is a very great mind. My own. What are you trying to say? I wish you only to say that you should be prepared for quite a trial, Mr. Reaper. If I review my people... Yeah, they're only 1 year apart. Not like that has anything to do with that. Also, I just realized Kazuma's profile. Interesting to take account of. For. Sorry to barge in. Gina. It's a morning band, I suppose. Is it? Father, shouldn't you be at the symposium? It's been postponed, so I have some free time. I decided to come along the police inspector to see our country's up-and-coming student in action. I shall be very interested to see the fruits of your studies over the past year. Well, it's an honor to have you here. Let's hope there are some fruits to see. Figuratively, of course. Odo. Yes, Gina? What'd you agree to this, eh? Did you take him on? This is the Reaper bloke. Everyone says it was him what? What killed the boss? I'm sorry, Gina. But I just don't believe that. Well, if they weren't him, who was it? I don't know that yet. I don't care who calls him what. The Reaper's just a name. He's just a person at the end of the day. And if it turns out it was him who killed the boss, then God help him. Fiery eyes indeed. Yes, the culprit deserves every ounce of your loathing. Eh? At least, that may be some solace to the deceased. Please, Odo. Get whoever did this. For the boss. Oh, Gina. I'd feel this useless, but there's nothing I can do. You gotta find who done this and make the wretch pay. Counsel for the defense and the defendant. Court will be in session shortly. Make your way to the courtroom at once, please. Alright then, here we go. It's time, Mr. Naruhodo. Barok Van Zeiks. One who lost his treasured brother to a mass murderer. One who lost his treasured father in a foreign court of law. And one who lost the man who helped her escape destitution. All that misfortune is all the pain on course to collide headlong in this trial. It's time to shine a light on all these dark events. And whatever truth is revealed, we're going to have to look at it straight in the eye. Second November, 9:20 a.m. The Old Bailey courtroom. It's much quieter in here. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. And since it's a closed court, I suppose this means no summation examinations anymore. We're here to conduct a fair and just trial of the defendant Barok Van Zeiks. Counsels for the defense and prosecution, are you ready to begin? The defense is ready, my lord. The prosecution is more than ready. Oh, Kazuma. I've been wishing to see you in court again for so long. It feels. But I never pictured it happening like this. I never thought I'd be facing you behind the prosecution's bench. The so-called Reaper of the Bailey has been scourged like no other, undermining Her Majesty's justice system. Today, we must uncover the truth behind the scourge. In other words, this trial is going to be a lot more far-reaching than Inspector Gregson's murder. The truth revealed by these proceedings may have unpredictable repercussions through the judiciary. Accordingly, they are to be conducted as a closed trial, with no members of the public present, by Her Majesty's direct orders. How will that work, my lord? By burden of all arbitration and the adjudication falls on my shoulders. Burden of all arbitration and education falls on my shoulders. That's why I said that. Therefore, as you will see, the juror's bench shall remain vacant today. If no members of the public are present, might I ask who is currently occupying the gallery, my lord? They are members of the judiciary, here to witness proceedings and ensure the equitable trial. Members of the judiciary? Oh my, this is a very unusual trial already. There is of course another unprecedented aspect to these proceedings on which I must elaborate. The counsels for the prosecution and defense are both aliens of Great Britain. I think that's actually a little bit racist, not gonna lie. But foreigners would be more polite. I believe it takes an outsider to see the truth sometimes. And I stand here in this courtroom now. I'm quite certain. This is the reason why I had to come to Britain. Kazuma? Very well. Let's commence proceedings. Prosecutor Asogi, your opening statement, if you please. Certainly, my lord. The incident took place on the 1st November, at just after 5 o'clock in the afternoon. The location was a building of flats on Francis Street on the outskirts of the city. The victim's body was discovered in the old single-room and rental property. Yes, Inspector Tobias Gregson. A name known very well indeed to this court. Not least for his miraculous resolution of one of the country's grimmest cases 10 years ago. The Professor case. How sure are you about the time of this incident? Several witnesses on the street outside heard the gunshot, and all reported at the same time. Yes, that's what Gina told us too. There were a number of witnesses. I have here a plan for the room. The victim was found curled up in one corner. It's believed that he was shot from the front at point-blank range and died instantly. How has the range been determined? There were scorch marks around the entry road. Such marks were caused by the gunpowder used to fire the bullet. But powder hot enough to leave scorch marks is only ejected by a few inches beyond the end of the barrel. In other words, it only happened when the target was at point-blank range. I see, yes. Thank you for the detailed explanation, Counsel. The murder weapon was found lying beside the victim. Alright. Don't want to lose my rhythm. Alright. Found lying beside the victim. And have you managed to discern the owner of this firearm? No, my lord. Not conclusively. Bravo, Kazuma. For not trying to use the gun as evidence when its provenance can't be proven. Furthermore, my lord, as I explained, the revolver was fired at extremely close range. The bullet passed through the victim and struck the wall behind him. There is candelabrum mounted at the wall, and the tip of one of those candles in it was found to have been blown off by the projectile. We noticed that too, didn't we? That's right. Thank you for the thorough report, Counsel. The setting of the crime is clear to me. You will submit the plan of the crime scene as evidence, please. As you wish, my lord. Is this Friends Street room at Inspector Gregson's private abode? Let's re-inspect this. I gotta pay attention to details. And it's supposed to be hard. No, my lord. The room is rented for Mr. Hugh Boone. But there's precious little furniture inside, and it is generally in a poor state of repair. So what on earth was Gregson even doing there? Presumably he was investigating some case or other. When a policeman was informed of the gunshot from the witnesses and rushed to the scene, he found only the deceased, the inspector, and the accused standing alongside, holding the revolver. The attending officer arrested the accused on the spot. So, details of the case are clear. In that case, the prosecution would like to call its first witnesses. A name, please, counsel. Naturally, the accused himself. Lord Van Zeiks? As prosecutor, he believes in the oath of the officer he's taken, and will be compelled to tell the truth. Very well. Let the defendant take the witness stand. So, witness, state your name and occupation for the court. Barok Van Zeiks, Old Bailey prosecutor. I presume, Lord Van Zeiks, that you heard Prosecutor Osogi's opening process? I did. It is alleged that you were found at the scene of the crime, and that you were arrested by the arriving police officer. Can you confirm this? Yes, my lord. Then I'm sure the court would like to hear your explanation of some things away. Namely, why you were in their room on Fred Street at the time in question, and what exactly took place. I intend to explain away nothing. I will simply tell the truth. I must say, Lord Van Zeiks, I never imagined this day would come. Or rather, I didn't want to imagine it would come, but since you became known as a Reaper, a part of me has been dreading it. Your formal testimony, then. Witness? It was investigating the Gregson, and my inquiries led me to the address. When I first entered the room that day, it was a dark inside and I saw no one. A moment later, I heard the gunshot. I spun around and saw the revolver on the floor. Just as I picked the firearm up to examine it, the door flew open and I heard a man scream. It was only then that the body of Inspector Gregson appeared before me. That testimony was the whole truth? It was. So, you heard the shot being fired in a room with no living occupants. And moments later, a corpse somehow appeared before your own eyes. Is that it? You're right. You haven't explained away anything. In fact, that would barely qualify as an excuse. I thought you were on my mute apprentice. Yet it turns out you have a way with words. Prosecutor Asogi? It would appear to be singular tale indeed. Singular isn't the word. It's laughable. What's gone into Kazuma? He's not behaving like himself at all. Very well then. Counsel, may you begin your cross-examination. Yes, my lord. I was investigating Gregson, and my inquiries had led me to that address. When I first entered the room that day, it was dark inside and I saw no one. I think he said that in prison. I heard the gunshot spun around and I saw the revolver on the floor. I picked up the firearm to examine it, the doors flew open and I heard the man scream. Alright. Hold it! You were investigating the inspector? What on earth for? I'm not at liberty to say. Sorry? I'd identified a distinct possibility that Gregson was involved in the case I was investigating. Regrettably, though, he was killed before I could secure the proof I needed. Is that correct to understand, then, that on the day in question, you followed the victim into the scene? No. I was privy to his moments in advance. I stole into his office, in the yard, and consulted his diary. The address on Friends Street was noted in 5 p.m. entry. You illegally entered the man's office. In Japan, that alone would constitute a very serious offense. As it does in Great Britain, I assure you, is that not the case, Lord Van Zeiks? I was aware of the possible consequences. So, in summary, you were investigating the victim. And yet, you refused to tell the court why. I didn't realize British prosecutors enjoyed such freedom to choose what to divulge under oath. Why did I ever think I could defend this man? When I first entered the room that day, it was dark inside and I saw no one. Hold it! Had you ever been to the address before? No, never. I only learned of the place as a result of my investigation through Gregson's activities. There was no light inside when I entered, so it was all but impossible to make out anything. By 5 p.m., the sun would have only gone down. It would still be reasonably light outside. The room has a window, but was boarded shut. Very little light found its way into the room outside, so it was extremely murky inside. I wouldn't have noticed if the victim was already lying on the floor. There was no artificial light in the room, you say? You're quite sure? I'm quite sure that the part of the room where the body was found was very dark. I have a feeling there was a small oil lamp burning on the desk, though I couldn't say for certain. Look, Mr. Naruto. There is a small desk on the room just here. Yes, I remember. And there was an oil lamp on it, as well as a framed photograph. When I entered the room, I closed the door behind me and I started towards the desk to investigate. And what did you find? Nothing. I never actually reached the desk. Alright, gunshot. Hold it! So, who fired the gun? Have no idea. You know this? believe they're actually legible, but I'm not sure. And that's the way I'm trying to see what evidence I can use to contradict. I was using mementos. I think the screen might be contradicting with the autopsy report. Let's see what else. I almost have to use the crime scene floor plan. Policeman figurine. Wait, you said that there was like firearm dust. Is there any proof? The type of revolver that's standard issue for members of the judiciary, then? Yes, and when I asked about whether records are kept with who they're issued to, I was told that for the past 5 years, they've been engraved with a unique serial number. Oh, but as far as I can tell, there's nothing like that on this gun. Which tells us that it must have been issued longer ago than that. Huh. I did not know that. And of course nothing's there. I get the police figurine had something to do with it. I didn't see anyone else in the courtroom. But you say it was very dark in there? Yes, that's right. All I can tell you is, I didn't sense another present. Ah, then it could be that the gunshot actually originated from somewhere else outside the room? No, that's not the question. Without a doubt, the sound emanated from the inside of the room. You could smell the gunpowder. This is going from bad to worse. And that's the point at which exactly you noticed the revolver on the floor? Correct. And I foolishly picked it up. That was carelessness on my part. Presumably then, the gunshot you heard came from the firearm that you somewhat hastily took in your hands. In point of fact, my lord, I believe I did not. What? The barrel of the revolver I picked up was cold, and there was no smell of spent powder. But then, what on earth if that gun was fired? What I would like to oblige you with an answer? I thought for a second this could work like a gun, but no. Huh. I'm afraid I can't. I, too, would dearly like to know that. Just I picked up the firearm to examine it. Hold it! A man, you say? One of the witnesses, I presume? That's right. One of the street merchants working on the Frenzo Street. Who are these merchants? A number of them had set up their stalls directly beneath the board window of the crime scene. A match seller, a newsmonger, and a peddler. They've all given statements saying they've heard the gunshot. Without thought of danger, they ran inside to see what had happened. Yes, Gina told us about that yesterday, didn't she? They burst through the door with some force, it would seem. They did, and almost gave me a heart attack in the process. But you're supposed to be the Reaper. The first man to come, we noticed, his revolver in my hand and fled. Wait, what did I... Ah, darn it, press the A button. His revolver in my hand and fled. Policeman patrolling the front of the street heard the commotion and was able to arrest the accused shortly after the incident occurred. Anyway, the man's scream drew my attention in that direction. It was only then that the body of Inspector Gregson appeared before me. So, that's Barok Van Zeiks' account. Do you have any thoughts, Naruto? Yeah, mainly that really doesn't ring true all sorts in way. He would fire a gun if no one else was there, and have the corpse just appear in front of him. So you think Lord Van Zeiks is lying? What?
Did you take a 30-minute shower?
I didn't take a shower at all today.
Really? That's interesting.
No, I don't think that. I mean, if he was going to lie, I would expect him to have come up with a more credible story, wouldn't you say? Yes, I completely agree. I think he genuinely doesn't know what really happened himself, so we must do what we can to fill in the gaps. Yes, first and foremost, we need more information.
Hold it!
What do you mean by that? In what way did the body appear? I honestly can't explain it, but it's the truth. As far as I was concerned, the body hadn't been there until that point, and then suddenly, there it was. Did you perhaps hear the sound of the victim falling to the ground just beforehand? At that moment, what I heard was the sound of the door flying open, and the scream of the man who came inside first. Nothing more. I see. After the man fled, I examined the body. I was stunned to find that it was Gregson. Most curious circumstances indeed. How the inspector was killed, or how the body seemed to appear out of nowhere. Have no idea.
Objection!
Surely that court hasn't heard enough. My lord, the cross-examination has clearly revealed that the accused, Barok Van Zeiks, is lying on multiple fronts. What? What is that supposed to mean? Good gracious, counsel. The defendant is lying, you say? In the testimony just now, he claims that he's failed to notice the victim's body because the room was dark. That's correct. No, that's impossible. That's proven by this candelabrum. How does that prove anything? If you examine the tip of the long candle, you can see it has been blown off by a powerful impact. One would assume that the projectile from the firearm passed through the victim and struck the candle. The problem comes when you consider the other two candles, which are clearly a different length. Yes, I can see that only one candle that appears to have been struck by the bullet is long. We could reasonably expect someone to have lit all three candles together. Which begs the question of, why only one ended up longer than the others? That must be because the particular candle was extinguished when the others were still burning. Ah! That's right. When the candle was hit by the bullet, it was obviously went out. But the other two candles would still have been burning. The fact is, the victim's body would have been illuminated by the light still thrown by the candelabrum. And the accused claim that he couldn't see the body, it clearly contradicts those facts. And now, the next lie. There's more? The accused also claims never to have visited the scene of the crime before. That's the truth. In that almost empty room, the police discovered something very unusual. A board cover from top to bottom in police documents and newspaper cuttings. Yes, that's right. We saw it too. It goes without saying that the contents of the police documents cannot be divulged. However, they include a number of reports from the various historical cases. The oldest of which was from 10 years ago. 10 years ago? This is starting to sound familiar. And there's common thread linking all the documents on that board. Indeed, what is this common thread, counsel? They all relate to the cases prosecuted in court by Barok Van Zeiks. All of them? And furthermore, all of these cases are one in which the defendant was acquitted. Oh lord! Interestingly, none of these defendants are alive today, because all of them have been sent to their graves by the Reaper. Ah! Oh no. In short, that dingy little room is the Reaper's secret hideout, and its base of operations. The Reaper's hideout? And yet the Reaper will claim never to have been to his own secret hideout? No one would believe that. No, not the truth is, we've been looking at this backwards. Backwards? Explain, Counsel. Inspector Gregson was investigating the identity of the Reaper. When he discovered the location of the man's secret hideout, he was killed. I'm sure that everyone can imagine. By the Reaper's hand. What? Oh no, I brought back my ouchie voice! Order, order, order! Very well, I hereby state the current opinion of the court. Barok Van Zeiks is an outstanding prosecutor who has rendered great service to this country. However, with deep regret I must concur with the prosecutor Sogi's contention that the defendant's testimony exhibits a number of stark inconsistencies with the known facts. And all I have done is state the truth as I know it. Kazuma's done a brilliant job as ever. He's drawing on his experience as a defense attorney to build his prosecution case, and it's formidable. Counsel, you will submit the board that you had just shown the court as evidence. I believe it to be fundamentally an establishment for the facts around the Reaper's existence. Thank you, my lord. And now, the prosecution would like to call its new witnesses to the stand. Oh, we're getting new witnesses now. Okay, a bloody hand. That is one bloody hand. What's this? Mr. Nahoda, look! Yes, it's a smudge of some kind. In fact, looks just like a handprint. And the color, that's blood, isn't it? Oh dear, how disturbing. There are details of the whole raft cases dating back to years in here, aren't there? This paper is from 10 years ago, browning with age. Look! Out of the interest, the most recent thing appears to be in this newspaper cutting here. Oh, it's the same Red-Headed League advertisement, and Mr. Sholmes has picked out. Do you remember? There was a red hair piece at the scene too. Was Inspector Gregson an opponent of the Red-Headed League then? No idea. Alright, witnesses who saw events unfold on the day in question. They were mentioned in the previous testimony too, if you remember. Yes, the street sellers who heard gunshots and went running into the room. Very well, leave the witnesses in. Defendant may step down from the witness stand. Certainly, my lord. So, witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court. Names? We don't need names. Without offensive likes of those. We're just free and easy. Sell what we like, live where we want to live. I could give them all a vacant stare where they will walk down Friendzone, and I spin around words into a verse of them. Ah. Would I be right to assuming that the three of you make all your livings by selling words on the street? Yeah, everyone calls me Gossip. I sell jaunty little tidbits for the passengers-by, you know. Jaunty little tidbits. Got an absolute smasher for you, sir. Right to get all it is. 6 pence the price, not a penny less. Wait, you're actually trying to sell it to me now? Oh, come on, sir. Don't tell me you're not interested. Try the man. Give your money and see what it is. Pay the man, counsel. Seriously? You won't regret it, sir. Now, got your listening ears on? Just between us, a young couple on the Slay Street have just had twins. Is that it? No, that's not it. It's gossip, isn't it? Just want to spread. It wants to spread. But that bit's up to you and your mouth, of course. I've got more, you know. Want another juicy one? 6 pence a piece, it is, if you're curious. I am curious, yes, about what's going on just under that fat bomb lip of yours. Name of that unusual bruise or whatever it is poking out from under your collar. About the next witnesses, then. Your name and you go by and what you sell? Me? I'm Venus. That's what everyone calls me. Funny, innit? I sell these lovely little fireworks to all the local school kids. 6 pence a pop. What do you say? You weren't exaggerating with little. Do they actually sell? Oh yeah, the second years can't get enough of my Venus firecrackers. Especially when I tell them that if they get 100, they can blow up the school. That's messed up. Not the most savory of ideas, young lady. Is something that could get you arrested? What do you say then, eh? What part of 6 pence for a pop? Wait, what? You wanted me to buy one? Well, tell you what, I'll let you on a little secret. If you get 100 of them, you can blow up the whole courtroom. Try the woman. Give her money and see if she's right. Pay the woman, counsel. Alright. Lovely stuff. Right then, this is some bit extra just for you. Well, very special. Only 600 pence. 600?! It's 100 for my regular fireworks. Nothing little about that, is there? And there'd be nothing... Show me McGill's body. I want to check to see if there's any money on him. And the last witness. What name do you go by and what do you sell? I'm the thinker, me. Thinks all sorts of thoughts. I think, therefore I am, therefore I think. Okay, seriously. Can't believe they actually bought 600 pence for all that. You're starting to end the string of fireworks. Sorry, it's just that the Venus special. I was wondering what 600 pence worth of fireworks would sound like. Try to find out? But she said could blow up the courtroom. Alright, that was a fairly sizable bang. My ears are still ringing, Mr. Naruto. It sounded almost exactly like... Oh, it does sound like a gunshot. Therefore, I think. Because I stand there on the street, watching the world go on about me. They call me the Observator. Get out of it, old man. Everyone called you the Sandwich, and you know it. So, you don't actually sell anything? A problem is stared at the problem I have. They say I give advice, and I do, and what it means. I don't actually sell anything, no? Come to think of it. Pity. No more purchases today, please. Well, we have a quiet cast here, it seems. They conduct their businesses on Perimeter Street from the morning until night, my lord. And they're always in the same place, directly adjacent to the crime scene. I see, and thus they heard the gunshot, I suppose. Not only that, but they were very bravely ran inside to know what's going on, and witnessed the crime. You go be buggered, though, I thought, just between us. Me lives in Marlow. All am I to do? What a terrible thing I saw. What I think is, if all we see is light and shadow playing with our eyes, is none of it real? Very well. The court will hear the formal testimony of the 3 witnesses now. You will describe in detail what you witnessed and heard at the time of the incident. We saw the whole thing from start to finish, we did. Everything from the moment they went in the building. It was less than a minute after the Reaper had gone inside that we all heard a big bang. It seems to me that quick talk to walk. Gossip didn't quite go and say what happened. I ran into the courtroom, there it was. The Reaper gone in, standing over the dead body. I was scared half to death, me, so I ran off to find a copper. These witnesses were there the whole day and saw everything. Who did they see going inside the building? Only the victim, Inspector Gregson, and the accused, Barok Van Zeiks. I've seen pictures of the Reaper in the paper. I know what he looks like. And just between us, full glove stories like this, I've made myself a tidy sum already. But wait, the room was just one of several flats in the building. Someone from another flat could have done it. All those flats in Friends Street are unoccupied. Of course they are. They're small, damp, dirty, and expensive to boot. The room in which we just inspected Gregson was found only property in the building that's currently leased. And we know that the leaseholder's name, don't we? It's Hugh Boone. The testimony of the court has just secured would appear to leave little room for doubt. It's becoming increasingly difficult to see how anyone other than the defendant could have committed the crime. No! Thank you for your candor, my lord. Case for the defense, you may proceed to cross-examine the witnesses. Yes, my lord. In a closed court like this, without jury, the judge is the only person who its opinion matters. I have to break down this testimony. Somehow. We saw the whole thing from start to finish. We did everything from the moment they went in the building.
Hold it!
When you say they, you mean exactly? Inspector Gregson and the defendant, Barok Van Zeiks? I suppose so. They are kinda like don't know the name of my mighty. But I'll tell you one thing, it was the old Reaper that won last, that's for sure, and third. Just behind Inspector Gregson. Did they arrive at the same time as each other? No, not at all. The first fellow must have gone missing. Good 15 minutes, before I heard a gunshot. The victim arrived 15 minutes before? Are you sure about that? I am sure. It does seem likely that I've forgotten a fellow with the bright hair like that, does it? Yeah, his hair really were red, weren't it? Redder than my flaming fireworks even. That with fiery red bob still burn on the inside of my eyelids, it is. Wait a minute, you're saying the man was a redhead? Weren't you listening, chum? Aye, he was a redhead, and it was a big trunk with him as well. But Inspector Gregson's hair isn't red. Not by any stretch of imagination. It seems likely that the person you saw wasn't in fact Inspector Gregson at all, but some other third party. No, I hate to break it to you, but the witnesses are correct. What? Just have a look at this photograph from the victim taken at the scene. Yes, that's Inspector Gregson, alright. And a red hairpiece. Of course! We saw it on the floor when we investigated the scene, didn't we? We refuse to believe Inspector Gregson wore a hairpiece, though. Though why on earth would he have been wearing something like that? The collar does seem to suit the man, one might say. The photograph will be submitted as evidence. Please, counsel. And what became of the trunk that redhead victim was supposedly carrying? And there's the body, alright. And where'd the bullet pierce? Something's not adding up. Shot on the chest, never mind. Shot on the chest from the front. You can kind of see that now. He looks somewhat familiar somehow. Yeah, I think that might, yeah. If I think he looks somewhat familiar, he does look like Beppo. And I think he probably is Beppo, seeing how character designs recur, but also alter. We're gonna be carrying. I was informed that no trunk was found at the scene. So it just disappeared. Well, you'd expect us to have been watching the building every second, do ya? We definitely saw him on the dock going through. No question about that. It was less than a minute after the Reaper had gone inside that we heard a big bang.
Hold it!
By which, presumably, you mean the gunshot. I sell these little things, don't I? How would I know what gunshot sounds like? But I've always thought it probably sounds a bit like this, doesn't it? And you say you heard the noise almost as soon as you saw the defendant here enter the building? That's right. It was almost straight away. Bang, it went. Just like that. Well, he's a Reaper, ain't he? It's what the French call an affaire fait accompli. When the Reaper's around, people are going around. I mean, that's what he does, isn't it? I think we get the message. The Reaper couldn't allow the Inspector to live after he discovered his secret hideout. There could be no clear motive for the crime. Yes. It's certainly an eminently credible motive. Great. And at the point, you ran inside. Is that correct? Seems to me that quick talk is a quick walk. Just couldn't wait to go and see what happened.
Hold it!
So, when Gossip ran to see what happened, did you go too? Well, me, I'm a bit hampered, see? All the signs are the signs that I can't move very well. You were way behind, presumably, with that sandwich boy around your neck and that big sign in your hand. What a great burden you bear. Pardon me for asking, Mr. Sandwich, but is it possible you have and I have met before? I'm not anybody, me. The signs are what make me who I am now. I sign, therefore I am. So, you weren't employed as an omnibus driver just under a year ago then? I might be mistaken, but I believe his trembling has intensified, Mr. Naruto. Yes, I agree. He's clearly been through a lot. Chuck down Kling Henry Black Windor's arms are just here. Oh dear, you've made him hide behind his sign. Life is full of surprises. I think he is, Beppo! I ran to the room and there he was, the Reaper gun in his hand standing over the dead body.
Hold it!
So then, you are the first person to arrive on the scene, is that right? There I was, kicked the door open like a professional I did, and yelled out, "What's going on over here?" Van Zeiks claims he has heard, but a man screamed though. And was the all dark inside the room? No, not dark at all. There was candles burning on the wall. Really? And there was a fella collapsed on the floor. Just between us, it's the first thing I noticed when I got inside. Ah, I see. Even though Lord Van Zeiks claims not to have seen any such lights on the wall, the next thing I noticed was someone standing right beside the body. I accuse Barok Van Zeiks. That's right, a pale-faced Reaper himself. I was a little shocked, I won't deny it, but I'm no liver-covered cower. I stood my ground, gave that Reaper a cold, hard stare myself.
Excuse me!
Do you have something to add, Mr. Sandwich? There's really nothing to me. Empty head in the head, I am. Just two slices of no metal. So I don't know what with me. I think that maybe you just remembered something. Haven't heard Mr. Gossip's last statement, I mean. What I think is, we were nothing really. We're trying to dress ourselves in like something else, but at the end of the day, we're all just street sellers. That's enough out of you, Sandwich. Keep your straps after now. Unless you want to get into a real sandwich. When he saw the Reaper, he fell clean over his backside. That's it? Oh, you rotten beggar. I told you to keep that a secret. He screamed, he did. Screamed and scrambled off in the all fours. That's what I wanted to say. Mr. Gossip, is this true? The floor was dead slippery, that's why. Planted my hand in a filthy pool of blood, didn't I? Yuck. What? Pool of blood? But listen here. Whenever one was sprawled on the floor, I kept giving that Reaper a cold, hard stare. And don't you forget it. But let's go back a little. Did you say you got blood on your hand? I did. Yay. That happens about the couple of times, doesn't it? So I was scared. I slipped over. And we kept it between us, can't we? No, Mr. Gossip. I'm going to have to ask you to add that form of information from your formal testimony. Oh, if I must. Alright. Please update your testimony. They quickly wiped it off the floor. Alright, I feel like that's probably not going to be important. I'm just curious, though. I know exactly what to point at his face. So you did run into the room with your friends? I'm not that sort of girl. Sorry? I'm a timid little thing. Me, I was too scared to go in there. Ah, right. I see. Olympia and the witch here, they all heard the old lady scream. Well, that wasn't me, I swear. For a gentleman, I'd take my honor on it. I wonder what on earth was going on. Which was when you went to find a policeman? I ran into a copper as soon as I turned the corner. So I brought him straight back to the place. Didn't I do well? Just between us, that copper's eye nearly popped out of his head when he saw the Reaper. I've never felt more uncomfortable in all my life. And the defendant was arrested on the spot, I believe. Considering the catalog of killings the Reaper had carried out, it was a particularly inauspicious end. If all I can't find any holes in this testimony, I'm afraid the judge is going to give a ruling of guilty, Mr. Naruto. The truth is, though, their combined testimony is fairly damning. Unfortunately, there don't seem to be any obvious problems with your statements. Do there? Still, if Barok Van Zeiks really is innocent, then I'm almost certain that we'll find something in there that doesn't quite add up. You don't think that one of these three could be the true culprit, do you? I don't know. But what I do know is that there's more of this case than has yet to be brought to light. Wiped it on the floor.
Objection!
So you wiped off the blood from your hand on the floor of the room. Are you quite sure about that? Well, what did you expect me to have done, eh? Does it really matter?
Objection!
The police found no such handprint on the floor during their investigations. What exactly is defense asserting?
Objection!
If you listen, you'll find out, Prosecutor Asogi. Certainly, there was no bloody handprint found on the floor. What are you trying to say? There was a handprint on blood left very clearly at the scene. On the back of this noteboard. Ah, yes, indeed. Instantly handprint from distinctive color of blood. You're dead right. That's my right hand. I'd know it anywhere.
Objection!
The witness has very definitively testified that he wiped his hand on the floor. And the handprints on the back of that board are irrelevant.
Objection!
Not if the board itself had fallen over to the floor. In that case, it's quite possible the witness's handprint have ended up there. Just look at this floor and plan on the room. The notice board was in the opposite corner of the room to the victim, in the upright position. Even if they had somehow been topped over and lying on the floor at the time, it would have been in considerable distance from the body. I fell over when I came across the body. I was basically right next to the corpse, not on the other side of the room. In other words, the defense's assertion is contradictory. Yes, it is. There's a very definitive contradiction here, for which there must be a reason. I take it that you formulated a proper hypothesis, counsel? Regarding this apparent discrepancy between the witness's account and the handprint found at the scene. I have, my lord. Discrepancy between the witness's account and the handprint is explained by... board moving, let's see. I think it might be the board moving. The real contradiction here is that the handprint itself, not where it was found. The court can see, it's upside down. Good gracious, so it is! If the witness put his hand against the board, the finger should be pointing upwards. What does that tell us? It tells one simple fact. When this handprint was made, the board must have been lying on the floor as I previously suggested. which means that after the incident, they must have been moved. What?
Objection!
You're claiming that somebody moved the notice board after the shooting? Then tell the court who. I don't know that yet, but the point is, when you consider all the testimonies we've heard so far, we can now be very clear on one point. And what that would be? The position of the noteboard at the time of the incident, my lord. So, counsel, I must ask you to clarify your assertion for the court. At the time of the incident, where do you maintain the noteboard was situated? If he fell backwards after seeing the body, I'd say it might be somewhere here.
Take that!
This is the only possible location, immediately adjacent to the doorway. If the court would think back to the testimony given by the defendant earlier, he said that when he entered the room, it was dark, and he couldn't see the body. Yeah! But if no board had been there, the body would have been completely hidden from view. And the light of the candles would have been blocked, making the room appear darker.
Objection!
But accused also claimed that the victim's body also appeared before him. That's true. Or, in his precise words, just as I picked up the firearm to examine it, the door flew open and I heard a man scream. It was only then that the body of the Inspector Gregson appeared before me. I don't know about calling it a scream, but it was talking about me and mistake. Because it was me who kicked the door open. If you look again at the floor plan, consider what would have happened if the door of the room was thrown open with force. That can't. The door struck the notice board, knocking it over, and making the victim's body visible. Good gracious! My client has told nothing but the truth. He has simply described what he saw. Order, order! Counsel, how has this not come to light before now? After the incident, somebody must have ran the board and moved it into the position where the police, myself, and my colleagues saw it when investigating the room. I also just realized that the bench had like a peg missing. Witness, what do you have to say for yourself? What? Me, my lord? You and your fellows were there at the scene before anyone else. If you go through that saying that, you must know something about the position of the notice board. The witnesses in the statement will testify again. We'll each explain exactly what you did upon arriving at the scene of the crime. Stop looking at me, gossip at me. I get the message. I don't know anything about the notice board. I just put my hand on it. That's all. Well, don't look at me. I haven't got a clue about it. I was just doing business with some second years at the time. I don't know anything about anything. I'm just a bystander, me. Just a sign at the crossroads of my life. I was that Reaper, Babette. It's got a face that screams bored. I can't see how this changes anything anyway. The detective still died when heard the gunshot. So none of you can elaborate further. Judging by the crimes they were witnessed, and with only the light of a few candles on the oil lamp but wish to see, we can't expect these witnesses to be able to give a more precise amount of count what happened. That's right, yeah. I don't pay to expect too much. It's man's endless quest to knowledge that they're destroying the world. That's what I think. Do you? Really? In any case, if this testimony shows, even if no spoil was moved by somebody following the incident, it makes no difference. When the gunshot rang out, the accused was the only one person at the scene. In short, the only person that could possibly have committed this crime is Barok Van Zeiks. None of this wrangling over the board changes this simple fact. Quite so, quite so. Does the defense still wish to cross-examine the witnesses despite the circumstances? Most certainly, my lord. Very well. Then you may proceed, counsel. I don't know anything about that there notice board. I just want my hand on it, that's all. Don't look at me, I haven't got a clue about it. I was just doing business with some second years at the time.
Hold it!
When you say you were doing business with them, you mean you were selling them fireworks? Yeah, that's what else. There's the Priority School, just around Scorch, see? Those two little so-and-sos have got a plan to blow their school in Kingdom Come. So I've been telling one of them, telling the teachers know what they're up to. Oh, you have? Yeah, wouldn't you want anyone to get hurt, so I let the school know the kids are playing with dodgy toys. Then, praise the Lord, the teachers take all their fireworks off them. And then, praise the Lord again, the kids all come back to me to buy more. Everyone's happy, you see? What a racket. Of course, and sometimes the teachers give me a little bonus for thanking me and letting them know. It's a bit the old life. Selling explosives. Venus is the guileful goddess, indeed. Well, telling barefaced lies is kind of my thing, really. I'm so good at it.
Excuse me!
Mr. Sandwich, something wrong? He actually said that, but in reverse. If I say it was, we could just leave it at that. Would that be the end of it? No. Tell me what it is now. Did the Venus statements just bring out anything to your mind, perhaps? That's much more polite. Philosophical thoughts. Deep philosophical thoughts. Let's say there was a great liar. And that great liar said, without batting an eye, telling barefaced lies is kind of my thing. I'm ever so good at it. Would those words of hers be a lie too? The truth. In which case, she's not a liar? Oh, it's a hellish paradox, that one. Don't you think? I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. But it seems to me you're suggesting Miss Venus has been lying. Are you? What are you on about, old man? Trying to cause trouble, are you? Keep it on like that. And I'll wrap you in a whole body of firecrackers and set them off. That'll give you something to tremble about. You'll have a startling, disturbing mind behind that sweet, innocent face, young lady. So, Miss Venus has lied in her testimony. Is that what you're saying, Mr. Sandwich? Well, if that means I'll be burning in hellfire for the rest of my days, so be it. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Can you elaborate, please, sir? The blabbermouth here headed for the room where the gunshot seemed to come from. But there was someone else crept up the stairs behind him, too. That's right. That Ron liar over there. Heh. Do you mean to say that you did in fact betake yourself in the scene of the crime after all? What I did tell you, eh? I said I was good at telling barefaced lies, didn't I? Yes, you'd mentioned that. Well, that revelation rocked the whole courtroom, didn't it? Who knew firecrackers packed such a punch? So you did indeed visit the scene of the crime, did you, young lady? Good grief! Well, now that you come to mention it, I suppose perhaps I do clearly remember climbing the stairs in the room, yeah? Either you clearly remember or you don't. Well, shall I consider the fitting punishment for this perjurious act later? For the time being, you will immediately amend your testimony reflecting the truth. Oh yes, my lord, of course. But just sneak behind the gossip and have a little peek in the room where it all happened.
Hold it!
You make a habit of lying, do you, Miss Venus? Well, I suppose so. I don't really know, to be fair. If you want my advice, though, I'll take everything I say with a big punch of salt. Alright, but you did in fact go to the room where the victim was killed on the day in question, didn't you? Oh please, if I would. I can't think of anything more terrifying. The truth, please. Alright, just a bit then. I mean, a girl at my age cares about stuff, you know. Did you touch anything at the scene? Oh, please. As if I would. I mean, there was a dead body on the floor. The truth, please. Alright, just a bit then. I had to look to see if there was anything I could sell. So I gave him place 1 over, but it was nothing to rhyme about. Right. Now, I hesitate to ask, but you didn't move to notice Motorsport by any chance, did you? Oh, please. As if I would touch anything like that. Just a few bits of loot changes is all I add. The truth, please. Well, alright then. I thought there might be something worth having underneath it. So I blasted the flipping thing. Sorry, I flipped the blasted thing. You're telling us that you did move that board? I think that did slip out, didn't it? What you daft barb, not barn pot? I don't believe it. There goes a think. So, you did find anything then? Something that you might have taken, perhaps? To sell? Oh please, I should be so lucky. The truth now! I might have found this old pocket watch in the noseboard, I suppose. But a bit of junk like this can't be worth much. To ask. Ah! So it was you, was it? You were the one who took it. Gina! Young lady, let me remind you where you are. That watch there, that was present at the Inspector Gregson from the yard. It was a big case solved 10 years ago. The professor case, no doubt. The boss used to wind up every evening and without fail when he was waiting for the grub to come in the pub. I see. I swept it off him once that Blimer was upset. He gave me a right earful. He said I hadn't missed a day in the last 10 years, polishing it to win net. It meant the world to him, and much it did. Possibly not the best thing to go diving for then. But not all that, though. Look at the job that I took how much it was worth, but the old dealer wouldn't touch it. Wouldn't give me a penny for it, so that wasn't working. Knocked about worthless, he called it. Ah! I knew I should have left it! That watch must be submitted evidence at once. Oh please, just so long you promise to give it back once you've done. Not a chance! I'll swipe it from you if you try to get your governments on it again. That's enough! Hand the watch to about forthwith. Now, children, watch your manners. Good lord! The glass appears to be broken. More than likely, it shattered when the inspector was shot. That doesn't tick anymore either. Are you sure that's not Strongheart's watch? Which is why the Jabbas didn't want it. What a waste, eh? Yes, indeed. It appears to have stopped at the hour of 5. Exactly when the gunshot was heard then. Which supports the prosecution's claim, of course. Well, it would appear that the mystery of the motive, as I predicted, it has very little bearing on the case. The glass over the face really is badly cracked, look. What a shame that the inspector clearly looked after it so carefully. Imagine if the Sholmes could repair it, don't you? I should think so. He's very adept at things like this. A useful man to have around. In fact, I can't remember the great detective Mr. Naruto, not an odd-job man. There's a little tiny little stub taken out from the small hole here. Look, I suppose they must have been a little knob or something on for a second time. In that case, seeing as we know the inspector took such good care of it, watch. It probably broke when the incident occurred. Didn't it? Yes, of course. Which means that there is a small part of the watch still at the scene. Maybe? Oh! Ah, there's a tiny little keyhole here. Can you see? Oh yes, that's probably for the winder used to mechanism. It looked a little unusual, don't you think? Yes, you'd need just the right key to wind it, I imagine. Why do I feel as though I've seen something? Something a bit like a key about that right-side spin hole. It would be wonderful if we had the key. Let's check carefully over what we have already found. Alright, so now we know what the police figure goes to. Miss Sato, do you think perhaps this key could be at the key for the Inspector for the watch? Oh, yes, it could be. Let's try it once. Not a moment to lose. I knew it. A perfect fit. And look, the Inspector's watch has started going again. Ah, so it obviously had not been wound up. That's all. What is it, Mrs. Sato? Well, if the watch isn't actually broken after all, I feel it could be profound implications. She's deep in thought now. Perhaps I'd better start thinking deeply too. Now then, continue with your cross-examination, please, Counsel.
Hold it!
You admit that was the board you wiped your bloody hand on? Admit it? That's what I admit. That's a plain day for all to see. Smashing print on my right hand. Perhaps you wanted to hide the handprint. The right... Nope. Nah. No, I imagine the weight of that great lump. Do I look like a powerful and well-nurtured man? Well, you see anybody else moving the board? Well, I'm not of steel, I can tell ya. But even I have my limits. There was a body on the floor in front of me, and the Grim Reaper himself standing over it. And there was precious little light inside either. My bottom lip was a quiver. In other words, this witness is unable to give a definite testimony on the point. Yes, so it would seem.
Hold it!
Alright, bystander, let's check your testimony next. You did go see what happened in the room, didn't you? Friends, the street is my whole world. It's all I know. All I know is of it. I'll have to make it my business to know if I want to hold my sign up high. So it did go see what happened. It's not the destination that's important, it's how you get there, isn't it? Did you notice the notice board in the room? If you think about it, we're both the same species, aren't we? Both different members of the sign family. So if I spot it, I might have tried to trip it up on a sense of reverie, admit. Someone really needs to tell you that you are Homo sapiens, not a Homo signians. That mean you did notice the board? I can only repeat what I said before. I don't know anything about anything. I'm just a bystander, me. Just a sign at crossroads of a life. In which case, just who was responsible for the moving of the notice board? It was the Reaper, I bet. He got a face that screams bored.
Hold it!
What exactly do you mean by that? Oh, come on now. Don't tell me you've not noticed. He looks like he hates everything in the world. That fella. But notice boards. No, that's one thing he likes. You see in his eyes. I can't say I'd ever noticed. I'll tell you one thing for you, though. I never took my eyes off that mean on the floor. Or the Reaper, not for a second. Sorry? Well, it was that scared. I couldn't. You never know what a friend feeling like me might do at look anyway. Do ya? If you didn't take your eyes off the defendant, you should be able to confirm categorically whether or not he was the one who moved the notice board. Aye, I can. The Reaper did nothing of the sort. I can swear that. You're going to have missed it. If he had things upright and again dragged into the corner. Right. Glad we've cleared that up. What happened to the face that screamed bored? I feel your pain, Kazuma. I can't see how this changes anything anyway. The detective still died when he heard the gunshot.
Hold it!
It was 5 o'clock in the afternoon that you all heard the loud bang, wasn't it? Maybe then the board fell over, maybe it didn't. If I fell over, maybe I didn't. Well, the Reaper fate is sealed either way, because of the gunshot we all heard. So your fate's sealed too. My fate? That's right. The defense is fated to lose. And prosecution is to win. In other words, it all hinges on that single gunshot. Or if I could just find some problem with that part of their story. it might be possible to change all our fates. Of course, none of that can change the fact that I heard what I heard, does it? Not much to go on. As you've pointed out, Nahoda, there's no question that the notice board was moved, so somebody must have done it. It did happen after the event, so maybe Kazuma is right. It is not relevant to this case. But it seems to have been deliberately positioned that hide the body from view. I feel sure that there's some significance to all this. I know what you mean. I know that there are more clues to uncovered. You're on track, I feel it. Still follow your instincts. Alright then. I feel that's wrong.
Objection!
No music change. You say it's undeniable, Counsel, but I fail to see any contradiction here at all. I think perhaps that itself is contradiction. Indeed. Time for a rethink. I mean, I want to take a few more guesses. I feel like this is the most suspicious line. You know what? I want to press Venus again.
Hold it!
You certainly know how to lie. Oh, it was nothing, really. I'm just a little porky. With no so little implications. Did you know? Everything in the world apart from the truth, it's a big fat lie. If you believe that, of course, I'm lost. As am I. This discretion of the truth is really rather disturbing. I think perhaps we should move on to the next witness. Yeah, I feel like she's not gonna be getting us anywhere at all. Ah, crap, I didn't mean to press that again. I want to try this. I just presented that.
Objection!
Ah, good, music stopped. I'm afraid that's not necessarily the case. Oh? At the scene, we found this key to the winder of the inspector's pocket watch. A key. And having wound to the pocket watch, we discovered that it in fact still works. You see, the watch didn't stop because it was broken at all. And that fact completely undermines one of the most fundamental premises which the entire case has been built. A what? Order, order, order! The council. The watch has stopped at almost exactly 5 o'clock. Yeah, which is just when we heard the gunshot. It is exactly the hour. The time was showing on the watch tells us nothing, other than when it would wound down. It's merely a coincidence that happened to be at 5 o'clock.
Objection!
Even if that's true, the 3 witnesses have heard the gunshot at 5 o'clock. So that's obviously when the crime was committed.
Objection!
No, that doesn't hold. Why not? Recall when the Inspector Lestrade said, only moments ago. boss used to wind it up every evening without fail when he was waiting for it to grub to come to the pub. He said he hadn't missed a day in the last 10 years, polishing it to win and winding it. I meant the world to him. That's what watch did. The victim was in the habit of winding its watch once a day. The evening. It can reasonably assume, therefore, that he wound the timepiece on the evening before he died as well. Yes, that would entirely be reasonable. But if that's the case, you wouldn't expect the watch to have completely wound down by 5 o'clock the following day. Oh, well, why did you explain it then? In summary, the evening before the day of the incident, when the gunshot rang out in that room, the inspector was already unable to wind his watch. You can't mean... What would stop a man winding his watch if he's been in the habit of winding every single evening for 10 years? The obvious answer is that he was already dead. Order, order! Counsel, is this is the most extraordinary claim?
Objection!
Extraordinary isn't the word. It's absurd. You claim he was already dead the night before? You really think that Scotland Yard's coroner would have overlooked something like that? Well, on that subject, there is something rather surprising. There's actually an omission on the coroner's report. The time of death is not noted. That's right. Wait a minute. You're forgetting my legs went from under me when I kicked the door in. What do you mean? Like I said, I planted my hand in the dirty great puddle of blood. Yes. So the victim's blood hadn't dried, though it was fresh. He catches on fast, doesn't he?
Objection!
But that blood couldn't be explained a number of ways. It could have been put there afterwards. Some fresh blood could have been poured over the victim's body after he... Doesn't my learned friend think that fresh blood is available on every street corner? Well, it needn't necessarily have been human blood, or of course... We've been told previously that Scotland Yard has no way to identify blood as human. The problem is currently being researched. At present, you are correct. It is beyond our abilities. So then, a chicken's blood could have been used, for example. It's certainly possible to think it wasn't the inspector's blood at all.
Objection!
But the gunshot was heard at 5 o'clock this afternoon. That's beyond question. Is it, though? What? Given that the time of the death of the victim had already been called into question, isn't it beyond realms the possibility that what these witnesses heard wasn't a gunshot at all? Oh please, what are you trying to say? Let us know what you already heard. A loud bang that came from their room. Now you listen to me. These jailers here are in his livelihood. I doubt your ears, sir. But all I can say with certainty is that you heard a noise. Explain yourself then, counsel. A noise that sounds like a gunshot could have been made with...
Take that!
Something like this. The culprit could have set off one of these to fake a gunshot. Good gracious! The fair fireworks that were sold at the witness. Now tell me, what are you trying to say I did it? My pretty little firecrackers only make a little pop anyway. See? Not 100 of them together. The vagueness special you sell for 600 pennies sounds like this. As the court can now attest, it sounds very much like a gunshot, in fact. You're trying to suggest that somebody set one of those fireworks off at the scene? I'm suggesting that somebody knew the defendant was in the room at 5 that day, and thought to implicate him by creating a sound like the gunshot, for these peddlers on Frenzo Street to hear.
Objection!
But everything the accused himself has testified that he saw no one else in the room at that time. Wherever the gun with firecracker, the only person that could have caused the bang was Barok Van Zeiks. Without match my firecrackers go pop. See? That's why people like him. I fear for your fingers, young lady.
Objection!
Recently during my time here in Britain, I've learned of a very useful invention indeed. Something called, a time bomb. Good heavens, a bomb? Yes, a device that allows you to blow up whatever you like, whenever you like. Mr. Naruto, I worry that you're unfortunately phrasing there. may lead yet to another international incident. Ah, no, wait. It's the whenever you like part that's important. A time device. Yes, exactly. A time device. Something of that nature could have been planted at the scene. A device that was able to produce the sound of a gunshot, long after the culprit had left. Your extravagant claim will have to be substantiated with evidence, counsel. What proof do you have that suggests any way that the time device was employed to create a gunshot sound? Oh, darn, I do not have this. Is there something I overlooked? No, it can't be that. It's a long shot to ask this, but it's possible.
Take that!
As this quote is already discussed, the tip of one of the cannons in the cannon has been blown off. Indeed, because it was struck by a bullet, which presumably passed through the victim. I don't think that's possible, my lord. Not possible. Why? Because the scorching. There are gunpowder scorch marks clearly visible on the broken candle. There are? Goodness, yes! But it's not the case. There was also scorching on the victim around the bullet entry wound. That's right, there was. As we heard earlier, scorching like that only occurs when the target is at very close range, a matter of centimeters from the gun. Ah. Which means the scorching on the candles can't possibly result as a gunshot. You're suggesting it came from the fireworks? How can that be? The fact that there was such visible scorching on the candle suggests that there were fireworks must have been right next to it when it exploded. Or put it another way, the candle and the firecrackers were joined together. The culprit somehow attached the firecrackers a point partway down the candle. After the killer had left the scene, the candle slowly burnt down along with the other two, until eventually ignited the fuse of the firecracker, generating a loud and that is how these three witnesses came to believe they've heard a gunshot at 5 o'clock. Well, well put. And this implies the victim could have died earlier when we've been led to believe. A previous day, even. Now just hold your horses! You're saying the victim gone into the building, remember? I couldn't ever get the flame-colored hair, if I wanted to. The persons you thought that entering the building wasn't the victim at all. Considering this. Obviously, anybody can wear a wig. So the person that these witnesses saw entering the building 15 minutes before the incident occurred could easily have been someone else entirely, wearing the red hairpiece. Get someone else? Do you mean to say it was the same person who contrived the firecracker trick? In other words, Inspector Gregson's killer. Oh, very impressive, Reineske. Nahada. Kazuma? I'm really quite amazed you've come this far. But after all, wasn't I the one who told you that you had all the maskings of a great defensive lawyer? I also know the lack of time in the death of the report. A stark omission. But all as far as I'm concerned, This whole country's justice system leaves a lot to be desired. Order, order, order! Prosecutor Shirasogi, what on earth do you mean by that statement? I hear that many of the leading members of Britain's judiciary are present to observe this trial today, so we cannot allow even the slightest doubt to be overlooked. The defense assertion about the time of the death is based on the victim's stopwatch. It's just conjecture. But, while the possibility exists that my learned friends may be correct, we have a duty to explore it. Well, certainly, I would agree with you. And what immediately comes to mind is, of course, what Inspector Gregson was doing and where he did go on the day before the incident. Do you know? The inspector always carried out his investigative work alone. His movements were treated as confidential within Scotland Yard. Even with the Yard? However, considering the evidence we've been presented so far, I'd say it's fairly apparent what the case the man was pursuing. Wouldn't you, my learned friend? I do have a feeling about what case he might be investigating. I'd agree, surely. My lord, the defense believes it can be explained to a court. The case was being investigated by Inspector Gregson at the time. The case he was investigating at the time of death. Very well, counsel, present your argument to the court. What evidence is suggestive of the case behind the investigation on the day prior to the incident?
Take that!
I can't say that I find your answer suggestive or anything particular. Other than perhaps it is utterly wrong. That much you have clarified most expertly. What? Congratulations, Runosuke Naruhodo. You deserve a reward for your expert display. I can't say I find your answer suggestive or anything in particular, that perhaps it's utterly wrong. That hurt. Did you just draw Karuma on me, my friend? I think, Miss Naruhodo, that there's one particular piece of evidence that really does stand out in showing what case Inspector Gregson was investigating. My lord, I have the answer now. Very well, counsel. Alright. I could try to find this.
Take that!
Ah, shoot. Oh, all red men. Sound, body, and mind are above the age. 21 years are eligible. Maybe this?
Take that!
I believe this red hairpiece points to an answer. We might assume it was part of a disguise used to carry an undercover investigation. Surely not. Such a brightly colored hairpiece would only serve to make the inspector more noticeable. Yes, that's quite true. It would definitely have made him stand out in this crowd. Except, that is, in a crowd of gentlemen from the Red-Headed League. The Red-Headed League? So, you'd already worked it out. What on earth is this all about? There's such an extraordinary league of gentlemen. The Red-Headed League is currently under investigation for a grand deception. Deception of what nature, Counsel? They've been targeting red-headed men across the land and tricking them out for small sums of money. 2 men were arrested misdemeanor only yesterday, in fact. My lord, the defense calls for these 2 men to be summoned at once. The 2 redheads? Inspector Gregson clearly infiltrated the Redhead League using this hairpiece. So it's very likely that he had direct contact with these criminals. And it's quite possible that such contact led to more serious events. I concur that we cannot in good consensus leave this new avenue unexplored. All done, Mr. Naruto. Well, it's another possible line of inquiry that, for us at least, prosecution will make immediate arrangements for the charged men to appear. Bring these two Redhead League conspirators before me, Prosecutor Sogi. Act once, my lord. Very good. We will have a 30-minute recess. Court is adjourned. Okay, that's a to be continued. Did he just joke Kuruma on me? I gotta mark that line down.